Hello and welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. Today I have Tamiko, an international business strategist and a member of Forbes Coaches Council, and has also bagged 3 degrees in business so far. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today, Koea.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
So we know that you have a specialty in, coaching SMEs. And here in Nigeria, let's just talk about Nigeria where we are, right? We're still bedeviled with a lot of unemployment. As a matter of fact, we've got an unemployment rate of about 21 point something percent, which is a whole lot.
Yes.
So the government currently is trying to shift focus from, people that bedeviling a lot of companies with graduates and moving towards the SME creation of self jobs as well. But what exactly would you say you have seen in terms of these SMEs coming from an international, background?
Yes. Well, there are a few things that I observe about Nigeria that we could do to change and boost the economy through entrepreneurship. One is what you've already mentioned, the unemployment rate. It's high. It's even higher than that just when you segment the youth. So people are graduating with degrees and they have nowhere to work. Some of them might be civil engineer majors and they're driving an Uber, for example. So why not take that talent, teach them how to monetize their gifts, talents, skill sets, and abilities into a business? Because when the jobs don't exist, that means we must create them.
Exactly.
So what I do is I train people on how to recognize what's already inside of them and how to package it and make it sellable so that they can sustain themselves, create a job for themselves, and then when they scale up, they're able to then hire other people. So that will then drive unemployment down and also boost the economy. The second thing that I noticed about Nigeria is that it imports a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you weigh our importation with respect to our exports, of course, you know that one is higher, of course, which is the import.
Yes. So if we could do some trade readiness programs, which I also offer for a little bit more of a sophisticated entrepreneur, someone who's a little bit more established. Then I start training them on trade readiness, because there are over 6,000 products and goods that Nigerians can actually export into the U.S. duty-free, and hardly anyone knows about this program. So just getting the word out. We have a law in the U.S. that says that certain sub-Saharan African businesses can export certain products into the U.S. without paying any duty.
Can you imagine? I know a lot of people probably not even know that such a thing exists. And the thing is, here in Nigeria, we have a lot of amazing products. But do you think, from your point of view, you reside abroad, from your point of view, do you think we're leveraging on going global in terms of what we already have and produce?
Not enough. I see some. But the more Nigerians are willing to embrace technology, which eliminates the borders between you and any other country, then you're able to actually do business freely without restrictions of borders. So geographical borders are eliminated when you use technology to grow your businesses. There are 7.6 billion people on this planet. Somebody needs what you are producing.
Exactly.
So this is the mindset shift that I'm trying to get across here. The U.S. will love to have some things that only can be produced here in Nigeria. The beautiful fabrics, cassava, for example. There are just certain products that are not native to the U.S. And so those are the opportunities that I help people to recognize and then take them and sell them abroad. So
can you mention like 1 or 2 other products that you feel, these things are very necessary, and if exported, then it would be of benefit to the exporters?
Well, think about all of the things that Nigeria produces that the rest of the world doesn't have, or in particular that cannot be grown in other places like the U.S. I mentioned a couple of them, but there are, like I said, a lot more. So the key is looking at what is produced exclusively here and capitalizing on that. Start with the U.S. Embassy to identify how you can find buyers who are already reputable, already vetted, so that you're not wasting your time sending samples abroad,
Exactly,
wasting money,
exactly.
maybe finding buyers that you know maybe
Ready
not
off takers
got a
to take
fit.
up whatever it is you're selling.
Exactly.
So that way you're even terminating the issue of losses, or at least reducing it to a very good extent.
Absolutely. So starting with the U.S. Embassy, that's the place where you want to go. Also going to trade shows. Those are a good way to build relationships in person with your potential buyers, so that you can establish a rapport and a trusting relationship, so that you can then export your products.
All right, and then also let's talk about the #1 rule for successful small businesses.
You know, this is going to sound cliche to some people, I'm sure, but it's resilience, because people give up too quickly.
I think so.
You know,
I totally agree with you.
Business is not meant to be easy. There's a reason that we have more employees than we do business owners. It's not for the faint at heart. It requires a certain type of diligence and persistence that some people just don't have. You know, if you think about all of these wildly successful entrepreneurs, they always have these stories of how they just had such devastating blows along the way. Some even to the point of being homeless, but they never gave up on their dream. This is the type of tenacity that every entrepreneur needs to have in order to build a sustainable business that's going to last for generations.
And do you think we're doing well in terms of, you know, moving from the first generation to the second generation? Is there a specific thing that you should do or put in mind when starting up your business?
I think so, because the thing that's key when you want to build a sustainable business from generation to generation is to build it so that it can outlast you. You know, you want to also be open to change and innovation, because the next generation is going to do business a lot differently than the previous generation. So if there's a family business, for example, you know, typically the youth are more prone or more savvy to use technology, whereas maybe the older generation may not be. So embracing change, doing business with an open mind, and also having a succession plan that will allow you to create generational wealth, and not just when you die, the business dies with you.
Now, something else that I see, which is very important, right? Some people always try to give themselves excuses why they cannot. I'm not of that school of thought. For example, you want to start up a business, and the next thing you're saying to yourself is, oh, I don't have this degree, or I didn't do this in school, this is not my first degree. I know that education, of course, is important, but how necessary or mandatory is it to have a degree before you start up a business?
Yeah, it's completely a myth.
I mean, you have three degrees.
Yes, I have 3 business degrees, and you know what I tell people? Not one of them taught me how to run a business.
No.
So,
Hold on.
Not one. I have a degree in small business administration with an emphasis in management. I have another degree in nonprofit management, and I have a master's degree in organizational management. They teach you how to go into a company, work for someone, and maybe manage an organization within, which is very different from running your own entity. So did it give me some skills that were transferable? Sure, it did. But you can glean, you can hire coaches, you can go to conferences, you can watch YouTube videos, you can read books, you can self-educate on running a business. You know, most of the really successful billionaires and multimillionaires don't have degrees. So it tells me that education is not necessary. Formalized education, let me just preface it by saying formalized education is not necessary to having and running a successful business.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll keep having this very interesting conversation with Tamiko. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. So, Tamiko, collaboration is increasingly becoming very important for SMEs at least. So what's your take on this?
I'm a big proponent of collaboration because each person or each entity can bring together the skill set that the other lacks. So you're stronger together than you are apart. So I always encourage people to team up when there's a skill set or a gap in the skills that's necessary to help you to become an expert at what you're selling. So it could be a product or a service or some type of technology, information, or whatever you're selling. So it's important that people learn how to work together because you can go a lot further when you have a team that you are working with.
But then how would you, I mean, this is what you do for a living. How best do you think these SMEs can find their own target market? Because it's one thing to have a very amazing product that you make, but you don't want your product to just sit on the shelf or just remain in the storehouse without getting to your expected audience, right?
Yes. You know, this is a big reason why a lot of businesses fail. They fail to do market research in the beginning. Just because you think your product or service is great doesn't mean that other people will. So you can't start with the assumption that, you know, everyone is going to buy it because you think it's so great. Do your market research, find out what your consumers are already buying, find out, you know, what they need, what they want, what the price point is, where they are. There's some psychology to the buying behavior of the people that you want to sell to. So even down to the distribution, the way you distribute your product. Some people might want to buy online, or maybe you have a consumer that's not as technology savvy and they want to buy it on the streets. So you have to figure out where is my buyer? And that's how you have to package your service to make it appeal to the buyer that you want to serve. You know, I have this saying that you should not sell ice to Eskimos. They have enough of it, right? So, you know, also I give a lot of analogies when I'm teaching. If you've ever gone fishing before, you know, you put the bait.
Oh, of course I've gone fishing
good.
before.
Yes, a woman after my own heart. So if you put the right bait on the hook and you put that fishing rod in the water, boom, then you've got a fish. However, if you put the wrong bait on the hook, you could stand out there for hours and not one fish would bite. So the same strategy exists in the world of marketing. You have to know which bait to put on your hook so that the fish can bite.
So you really need to understand the people in which you intend to service.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Now, how best do you think people can, or SMEs, some people have these ideas and they're exciting, but they still find it difficult to articulate it exceptionally well.
Yes.
Do you have tips for us?
I do. This is common. This comes straight out of business school, by the way. So it's nothing that's original to me. But we have something that's called the 30-second elevator pitch.
Okay.
Right? Think about if you're in an elevator and you're riding up to the whatever floor you're going to together. In 30 seconds, how would you captivate that person and tell them what you do in your business to make it interesting enough where they would want to ask you more questions? So memorize it, write it down and have it memorized so that, boom, people can tell you when they ask you, so tell me about your business, then you're able to rattle it off within 30 seconds or less. So this is what I tell people to do. Rehearse this thing, because when you go out to network or you're just meeting people, you have to be able to quickly tell people what you're doing and be confident that you know what you're talking about. This will get the conversation going, and it might even win you some new clients.
And then we've got some people, I mean, some feel it's time to have a good vacation when I earn my first $1 million.
Couldn't be further from the truth. You know, I have this thing where I said, you know, I sleep when I'm done, not when I'm tired, right? I keep going.
I need to keep that down. I sleep when I'm done, not when I'm tired.
Yes, because some people, you know, you can get too comfortable in business. You reach a certain level of success, then you're ready to relax. But then that's the time you should be recharged. You should reinvigorate you to want to capitalize on that momentum in your business. So that's not the time to scale back. That's the time to keep going, because then if your business is booming, then that's when you know You already have a captive audience. People are responding. Keep up the pace so that you don't rest too soon.
And then for those out there that think, I mean, you're running a master class while you're here in Nigeria for how long exactly?
So the master class is 3 hours of power-packed information for aspiring and emerging entrepreneurs. Typically, I cater to women, but the men show up anyway. So I just tell them, just come.
Come on, men also have small businesses to run.
They do, right? But you know, us women, we have very special needs. Sometimes we have confidence issues. Sometimes we don't see ourselves as leaders. So breaking the mentality of, you know, I'm a woman, how can I be taken seriously, especially if you're in a male-dominated industry? So there are some particular things that we need as women. But principles to grow your business are universal. So that's why I said anyone is welcome. It's taking place on Saturday at Workstation in Victoria Island. And so I tell people, just come. You can register at the door. Everybody that comes, they'll get a free copy of my book, which is called Own Your Brilliance. And
but I do hope that you keep coming and coming.
Yes,
it's a
I
very
will.
amazing place.
Yes, I will. There's a lot of opportunity for people to rise and to elevate their businesses and to become more profitable. So that's why I'm here.
So what exactly is that one thing that you'd be telling a small business owner? Because some people still feel like here in Nigeria we still have challenges of a stifling business environment. It's not like you don't want to do it, but we're still having challenges with, say, infrastructure and the rest of it.
I always tell people, look at what you do have. Look at what's working, because if you focus on the thing that, we're always going to have some type of obstacle in our businesses, right? So focus on what you do have, what is working. And if you focus your attention on that, then you'll be able to overcome whatever obstacles there are. Like with technology, we need the use of technology more in Nigeria when it comes to SMEs. So we know the barrier, the electricity issues, we know the cost of Wi-Fi is expensive, right? But focus on what you do have and what's working, and then you'll overcome those challenges as you go along. We also need people to look at business from a global context and not just within the context of Nigeria.
Exactly.
There's no shortage of talent here. There's somebody who wants what you have to offer. They just might not be here in Nigeria. So I get people to start thinking, wow, I can really take my talents outside of Nigeria?
Of course.
You know, yes.
Thinking on a global perspective now, and not just the local, you know, audience.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
I think this is very amazing, and for me, success starts from the mind. No matter what it is, you feel like you want to sell or service you want to render. If your mind is not ready to get everything you can get, then you're not ready to make it big in your business. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today.
My pleasure.
Thank you so,
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
Thank you, my darling. All right, that's all on Ladies Talking Business for now. Remember, you can always join us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all social media handles on Plus TV Africa. I still remain your host, Irene Ubani. Do have an amazing day.